Good day, grade 8. We are back with another video for lesson 4, which is organization and presentation of data. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to organize data using the frequency distribution table and use appropriate graphs to represent organized data such as bar graph, pie chart, line graph, histogram, and frequency polygon. Since we already discussed the nature of statistics, data and variables, and how to gather data using different sampling techniques, we will now proceed with the next step, which is to organize and present data. And before we start, I want you to get the copy of your module, a pen, and a scientific calculator so that you are guided while we discuss our topic. So let's start with Discover 4.1. The raw scores in a 40-item test in mathematics of the two sections in grade 9 are presented below. Study and observe the scores and answer the questions that follow. So we have two sections here. We have the scores of section X and the scores of section Y. Okay. So for the first question, what is the lowest score from section X? So if we are to observe, the lowest score is 9. So we write here 9. How about the highest score? So, hanapin ang highest score. For the first column, ang highest ay 34. The second, that's 34 again. The third one, you have 38. For the fourth one, you have 35. And for the last one, you have 31. So, kung i-compare natin, ang highest scores from each column, we have 38. So, that is the highest score for this data. Next. What is the most frequent score? When we say frequent, ito yung pinakamadalas na nag-appear na score sa isang set of data. So, if we are to compare all the scores, we can infer that 28 appeared 3 times. So, that is the most frequent score. And how many students passed the examination if the passing score is 24? So, for us to obtain the number of students who passed the exam, bibilangin natin kung ilang scores ang lagpas 24 or equivalent to 24. So, for this data, we have 15 students who passed the exam. Next, for section Y. So, for section Y, we have the same set of questions. So, what is the lowest score? Okay, so for this set of data, that is 7. And the highest score is 37. So, mabilis nating nahanap yung scores na hinahanap. Bakit? Kasi, kung mapapansin nyo, the data are arranged in a specific order. So, isinulat siya in ascending order since nagsimula siya sa lowest score papunta sa highest score. So, what is the most frequent score? Mabilis din nating mahanap dito since magkakadikit ang ating scores or meron siyang order na sinusunod. So, kung mapapansin natin, 24 appeared 4 times. So, the most frequent score is 24. How many students passed the examination if the passing score is 24? Dito, bibilangin naman natin kung ilan ang number na mas mataas sa 24. So, including 24, since that is the passing score, we have 4, then plus 1, that's 5, plus 12, we have 17 students who passed the examination from section Y. Okay? So, mabilis nating mapapansin, right, na mabilis nating nasagutan ang set of questions under ng section Y because meron siyang isang specific na order na sinunod sa pagpe-present ng data. So, this example manifests the importance of organizing our data. So, to further understand how to classify data, we have group data and ungroup data. Group data are those that are organized and arranged into different classes or categories. Samantalang ang ungroup data naman are those that are not organized, and if there is any arrangement, it is only in ascending or descending order. Raw data are usually presented in this form. So, ang ungroup data, ang example nito ay yung kanina nating sinagutan sa discover part. Kasi, ang data doon ay naka-arrange lang sa ascending order at wala siyang sinusunod na classes or categories na under ng group data. So, that is classified as ungroup data. And data can be presented using 3 different methods. We have the textual method, the tabular method, and the graphical method. So, for the textual method, this is a form of presentation that combines text and numerical facts in the statistical report. And the 2 ways of presenting the data under this method are arranging data in ascending order and using the stem and leaf plot. For tabular method naman, this is a form of presentation that provides numerical facts in a more concise and systematic manner. Kasi statistical tables are constructed to facilitate the analysis of relationships. So each class or subclass is assigned to a particular row or column, and figures for various classifications are noted in appropriate cells. And then for the last one, we have the graphical method. The data can be graphically presented properly according to their level or scale of measurements. So graphical form shows the nominal, ordinal, and interval data in pictures such as pie chart or circle graph, bar graph, line graph, histogram, and frequency polygon. So some readers prefer this kind of presentation because the data is easier to comprehend than when it is presented in textual or tabular form. It also helps to facilitate comparison and interpretation without going through the numerical values of the data. So una, let's proceed with textual method. The textual method, we can use the rearranging data from the lowest to the highest score. So dito, one example given below are the test scores of 40 students in elementary statistics. Okay? So, using the rearranging data from lowest to highest, so i-arrange lang natin siya mula sa pinakamababang score hanggang sa pinakamataas na score. And from this simple arrangement, we can infer that the lowest score is 9, and then 3 students were able to get 50, and the most frequent score is 38, right? Okay. Second method is using the stem and leaf plot. Stem and leaf plot is a table which sorts data according to a certain pattern. It involves separating a number into two parts. Okay? Given below are scores of 15 students in a certain quiz. So for us to make a stem and leaf plot, ang gagawin nating stem is the first digit of our number. Okay? So, ang naging first digits dito ay 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, ang stem natin is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So, katapat nila, ang gagamitin nating leaves is the second digit of each score. Okay? So, for the stem 1, we have 11, 12, 15, 18, and 18. For the second one, so we have 20, 20, 20, 1, and 5. And then for the third one, we have 32, 35. And for the fourth one, we have 40, 41, and 42. Okay? So take note that kung ilan yung ating scores, ganun din kadami ang leaves. So this should be 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay? So, ganito gumagawa ng stem and leaf plot. So, kapaano kapag one digit lang? Kapag one digit lang, ang ginagamit na stem is 0. Kapag naman 3 digits, ang ginagamit na stem ay yung first 2 digits ng ating scores. For the tabular method naman, so these are the following important parts of the table. So, flash on your screen is an example of a table. So, the table number is used for easy reference of the table. The table title, it explains briefly on the content of the table. So, dito, yun yung profile of the junior high school students in terms of place of origin. Next is the column header. This describes the data in each column. Ito yung place of origin, sample, and percentage. Row classifier refers to the classes or categories. So, ito yung Batangas, Lipa, Tanawan, and yung total. And then, the body shows the main part of the table. And then, the source note is placed below the table when the data are not original. Okay? So, the most common table na ginagamit to present data under the tabular method is the frequency distribution table, or the FDT. So, this is a table which shows the data arranged into different classes or categories and the number of cases or frequencies which fall into each class. Okay? So, we have an example here, a sample frequency distribution table for ungrouped data. Okay? So, kita nyo naman, meron tayong table number and then we have the table title. Okay? This is the column header and then this is the row classifier and this is the body. So, kapag ka siya ungrouped data, kita nyo po, So, di nakalagay dito, the frequency distribution table for the ages of 50 students enrolled in statistics. So, 2 students are 12 years old, 13 students are 13 years old, 27 students are 14 years old, and 1 student is 17 years old. So, a total of 50. Kasi 50 yung ating population, ganun din yung number of frequency. Next is a sample of frequency distribution table for group data in shown below. Okay. So, ito naman ay frequency distribution table for the quiz scores of 50 students in statistics. Okay. So, kung mapapansin nyo, this is the frequency or bilang ng estudyante nakakuha ng scores between sa isang class interval. Okay. So, dito, 10 students got 6 to 8 score. 5 students naman, ang score is between 9 to 11. 19 students ay 12 to 14. 8 students ay merong score na 15 to 17. And 8 students got 18 to 20 na score. Okay, so for a total of 50 students. So how do we make a frequency distribution table? So for us to have a frequency distribution table, let us have an example. Let us consider the test scores of 30 students in mathematics. Okay? So, ang pinakaunang dapat gawin is to arrange the data in either ascending or descending order. So, ang test scores of 30 students in mathematics ay na-arrange in ascending order kagaya ng nasa screen nyo. So, it started from the lowest score and then ended with the highest score. So, again, para mas mabilis kayong makapag-arrange ng inyong scores, you can use the stem and leaf plot. Step 2, determine the number of classes. So for this step, we will use the Sturge formula, k equals 1 plus 3.3 log n, wherein k is the number of classes and n is the number of observations. So simply, pwede natin gamitin ang calculator to obtain the number of classes. So, pindutin lang natin sa calculator ang 1 plus 3.3, and then yung log ay makikita sa upper right side ng ating calculator, and then i-type natin yung value ng n, which is 30. So, this will give us 5.874500142. Approximately, that is 6 number of classes. So, tandaan natin na tayo ay gagawa ng 6 number of classes. Next, step 3, determine the class width. So, we will use the formula class width equals range all over number of classes. Range can be obtained by getting the difference of the highest score and the lowest score. So, ang highest score natin kanina is 50, right? Okay, so 50, and then the lowest score is 3. So, to obtain the class width, we get the range. So, 50 minus 3, that's 47. And then the number of classes na kinuha natin kanina, that is 6. So, 47 divided by 6, we have 7.8333. So, approximately, our class width is 8. Okay? Next, choose the first lower limit. So, always use the lowest score from the observation. So, based on our data, the lowest score is 3, right? So, 3 will be our lower limit. Doon magsisimula ang ating class intervals. Step 5, add the class width to the starting point to get the second lower class limit, and then add the width to the second lower limit to get the third, and so on. Okay? So, the class width is 8, right? And then, the starting point is 3 kasi na-determine na natin kanina. Okay, so for the first lower class limit, that is 3. Then we add 8 to get the second lower class limit. So 8 plus 3, that's 11. And then to get the third one, we add again the class width with 11. So we have 8 plus 11, that's 19. And then 19 plus 8, that's 27. 27 plus 8, that's 35. And 35 plus 8, that is 43. Okay? So for step 6, list the lower class limits in a vertical column and enter the upper class limits. Okay. So, since meron na tayong lower class limits, kailangan nating hanapin yung upper class limit natin. Okay? So, nagsimula ang ating first class sa 3. So, saan siya magtatapos? Para malaman natin yan, saan ba nagsimula ang second class? Sa 11. So, magtatapos ang ating first class sa 10. And then, since 19, nagsimula ang third, magtatapos ang second sa 18. And then, this will become 26. dito ay 34. And then 43 nagtapos. So, 42. And then 43. Since ang ating class width is 8, so 43 plus 8, kasama si 43, we have 50. Okay? So, always remember na hindi pwedeng mag-coincide ang dalawang scores sa dalawang class intervals. Okay? Because class intervals are mutually exclusive. So, walang score na maitatali sa dalawang magkaibang class interval. This ends the first part of our lesson. So, to proceed to the next lesson video, hanapin lang ang link sa description box below.